Good evening, everybody. I'm going to continue my discussion of Article 1 of the U.S. Constitution, and believe me, this thing has been longer than I actually thought it was. Anyway, we were talking about what Congress can actually do. One of the things that they do is they provide for the organizing, arming, and disciplining of militias. Now, what that actually means is they tell the states how to organize their militias, but the states actually do the organizing themselves. They even make available to the militias, and this would be like your National Guard, they make available to these militias these special armaments, grenades, pistols, rifles, anything that the U.S. Army creates, they make available to the National Guard, and then the National Guard would then come in and pick it up and then take it back to the respective states. So they don't just automatically ship this stuff to the National Guard. The National Guard has to go pick it up, but they do make those weapons available to them. And as far as disciplining, that would be more of a training type thing. They make little handbooks for the National Guard to show them how to train National Guard members. But keep in mind, the U.S. Army does not train the National Guard. It's the states that train the National Guard. All right? They may send somebody to teach the states how to train, but when it comes to the actual physical training, that is taken care of by the states, not by the federal government, all right? Congress does govern the militia, but the militia pretty much runs under a state rule rather than a federal rule, okay? Now, the states are the ones to appoint the officers in the militias, okay? So if you want to be a captain of the guard, or you want to be some kind of commander in the National Guard, you have to go to your state government rather than your federal government, all right? All right. Now, there is some local government in the District of Columbia, but Congress oversees that government. So they decide how much of that government is going to be there and how much is not. Alrighty. Congress is also the one who monitors all the national parks, all the military forts, all the military arsenals, the dockyards, and other federal buildings. Okay, so if you break the law on federal territory, even though it's in another state, like say you break the law in the Yosemite National Park, well, if you break the law in Yosemite National Park, you're going to be facing a federal trial rather than a state trial, okay, because you're committing a crime on federal land. So, if you're going to commit a crime, I would suggest breaking the law in a state rather than on federal territory, because federal territory is going to be a lot worse. Trust me. Alright, the next thing that Congress said was after the year 1808, you could not ship slaves over to the United States. Now, slavery had not been abolished in 1808, but nobody could bring extra slaves into the United States after 1808, at least not legally. They were doing it illegally a lot, but they couldn't do it legally. Alright. Now, we're talking about writs of habeas corpus and bills of attainder. We're talking about being thrown in prison for an indefinite period of time without a trial. Okay? They can't do that in this country anymore. Alright? In some countries, they can just pull you right off the street, throw you in jail, say, you know, they'll give you some kind of a reason why they put you in jail, but they do it without a trial. You can't do that here in the United States. If you're gonna have somebody put in jail, they have to have a trial. That's the way it works. Now, granted, if you have a trial and you're found guilty, you do go to jail, but you don't just automatically go to jail and get detained for an indefinite period of time without having a trial first. It doesn't work that way. Alright? Now, what is an ex post facto law? Now, to give you an example, back in 1979, it was not illegal to drive or even ride in a car without a seatbelt. Shoot, when I was a kid, we never thought about seatbelts in the back seat. It just was never thought of. Of course, nowadays, you try to do that and you can get busted. But back in 1979, that wasn't the same case. Well, somebody can't come up to me today and arrest me and fine me for not wearing my seatbelt back in 1979. If I had done it today, they could. But back in 1979, they couldn't press charges against me for not wearing my seatbelt. Because back then, you could go in your car and not wear your seatbelt. It wasn't a big deal. Honestly, I wouldn't do that, but when I was a kid, we never thought about wearing our seatbelts back then. It wasn't a law. Okay? Alright. Now, if manufactured goods are shipped from one particular state in the United States to another state in the United States, the government cannot tax that. Alright? So they can't put extra taxes on the merchandise if it's shipped from, say, Illinois to Indiana. It doesn't work that way. Now, if you ship it from Illinois to China, they can tax that. But if they ship it from Illinois to Indiana, it can't be taxed. Isn't that nice? States can do that, but the federal government can't. Alright. Now, when we're talking about rules of commerce, whatever rules of commerce government provides or makes up, it has to be the same rules in Illinois as it is in Indiana, or the same rules in Kentucky as it is in Virginia. They can't say, well, we're going to give Kentucky one set of rules for commerce and we'll give Virginia another set of rules for commerce. You can't do that. Article 1 of the Constitution says no. So whatever rules of commerce are in place for one state, they're the same rules for the next state. Now, for what happens overseas, that's a different matter. But from state to state, every state has the same rules when it comes to commerce. And that's all I got to teach you for tonight. I will tell you more in a future video, so stay tuned.